And welcome to the Cardinals Nest on HBC Channel 25. Dean Beckman along with Sports Information Director Donny Nadeau. We are back to talk St. Mary's athletics and other events going on around campus. And Donny, later on in the interview segment, we're going to have Peter Snell and Phil Thomas. They are from Phi Mu Alpha, the music fraternity on campus. And they'll be here to talk about an upcoming music variety show called Blue Angel, very popular on campus, but maybe not a lot of people off campus know what Blue Angel is.
Yeah, it really is. It's a very neat event, and I'm looking forward to talking to them. I went to Blue Angel back when I was a student here, and since then I know that it's grown immensely, and it's a lot of fun. You get a lot of people who get to show off their musical talents, and you know, it'll be fun to talk to them about that event and just how much it's grown and a little bit of the history of it, and I think it'll be a great segment.
Yeah, you know, I'm always jealous of, when I leave Blue Angel, I'm always like in awe of the talent. I'll have students who are in my class, and I'm like, they can do that, you know, because it kind of brings things out of people that you didn't know that they had.
Absolutely, and like you said, you get to see some people who you didn't expect to be able to do things like that, that do. And I know the students enjoy it. It's, you know, it's kind of a concert type atmosphere, and I think that you know, anybody that does go, I have yet to hear of a person who's gone to Blue Angel who hasn't had a good time.
Right, absolutely. So we'll talk to Phil and Peter later on in the show. But first, though, St. Mary's athletics from the previous week. And speaking of good times, it was a good time on Wednesday night at St. Mary's in the gymnasium. The volleyball team on senior night picked up a 3-1 win, Donny, over Northwestern College. I know the female players were just thrilled that they could win one for the seniors on the last home game of the year.
Yeah, and the thing about the win was it was really a very important win for them in terms of rankings. When the first regional ranking is going to come out shortly, and a win against Northwestern, a team in their region, it was a very important win. They've played Northwestern before, and really they needed 5 sets to do it, and they beat them 3-2 at the Simpson tournament. And you know, for them to play the way they did, to bounce back, they played rather sluggishly the first set, and I think that was you know, as Coach Lester kind of predicted, you've got senior night, you know, you're recognizing those seniors before the match, and so you have all that festivity going on, and I think they came out a little bit flat and maybe a little bit let down from that festivities, and got over the hump there and played 3 really solid sets and came away with the win, which really was a very big win for them.
Yeah, slow starts though. I mean, that's common for this team. About a week ago, you and I saw them take on St. Kate's, and they were down 0-2 in that one, came storming back and picked up the 3-2 win, but they didn't look all that good those first 2 sets, but then really seemed to regroup, regather themselves, and came away with the win. Why do you think the slow starts, and what usually jumpstarts their ability to come back?
I think what jumpstarts them more than anything is probably reality. You know, like you said, in that St. Kate's match, you're down 0-2, you don't get your game going, and you're going to be done in 3.
And that was a team just above them in the conference standings.
Absolutely, and so you know, you look back at a match like that, and it was a huge win for them because they were down 0-2 against a team that's really about as good, you know, talent-wise as they are. So that was a huge win, and I think it's the same thing here. I think that you know, after that first set, they get in their huddle, and Coach Lester talks to them a little bit, and I don't know how much talking he did, and you know, I think people start to say, okay, you know, we've got to get back focused here. We've got to start playing the way we're capable of playing, and that's something that Mike has really preached all year. Is we have to be able to go out on the court and play to the highest level that we are capable every time we play, and I think maybe it's more just a reminder from him. You know what? We're not playing where we need to play, and we need to pick up our game, and obviously they did. And you know, they have a huge leader in Brittany Cherwinka, one of those 4 seniors. She's the setter on the team, and you know, she kind of runs the offense. So I think that you know, she probably took things upon herself and said, you know what, we got to get this going. I'm going to make sure the ball gets to where it needs to get to, and you know, obviously with a 55 assist night like she had, you know, obviously she did take the bull by the horns and kind of guided that team through.
Well, they need to finish in the top 6 in the conference standings to get into the playoffs. Now they have 4 conference games remaining, but all on the road. So where are they at in the conference, and how important are these last 4 games?
Well, I think they're all going to be very important. I think if you look at, they've got McAllister and Bethel this weekend, and then they've got Gustavus and St. Olaf after that. St. Olaf right now is 22-2, so that's obviously going to be a very tough match. But I think what Mike's looking to do now is just continue to play well. Bethel and McAllister are below them in the conference, and Gustavus and St. Olaf are above them in the conference. So they need to take care of the matches they need to take care of. And I think that, if nothing else, if they go 2-2, they're probably going to end up in the 6th spot, which would get them into the conference playoffs. And from there, anybody, it's anybody's guess. I think that more importantly right now to St. Mary's is that they've played very well out of conference, and a lot of their victories have been against a very good regional team. So when the regional rankings come out, they may actually be higher than they are in the conference standings right now. So past the conference tournament, they're still at-large bids for the regional tournament, and right now St. Mary's is in a good spot to have a chance at one of those spots. So I think it's a twofold process here. They want to get into the conference tournament because obviously that's very important, and they also want to get into the regional tournament, and both things can happen, and you don't need one to happen for the other to happen. So it's kind of one of those things that one doesn't necessarily lead to the other.
Right. So we'll see what happens in the last 4 games. The women's soccer team, Donnie, they really had a good outing against Hamlin, winning that one 4-1. So now 2 wins in the conference this year for Eric Zimmerman, and 8-5-1 overall. They're having a pretty good year.
Yeah, and the nice thing is they've now won 3 of their last 4 games, and for Coach Z, that's awesome. I mean, he's feeling really good about the way they're playing. Hamlin was a team that Eric knew that they should be able to handle, and obviously it was. I think what was encouraging to him was it wasn't a 1-0 win or a 2-1 win. They took it to them, and they played very well. It was good to see Amy Sibic come on, their leading scorer. She netted 2 goals, which was great, and they're playing really well, and I think as the season starts to wind down here and they start to get towards the end, that's what Coach Zimmerman was hoping for, is that the team from the beginning of the season to the end was showing improvement. And yes, they're 8-5-1, but more importantly, they're playing much better now than they were when the season started.
And what's nice, they're on a roll, and they get to continue to try to improve on that as they're at St. John's, or at St. Ben's on Saturday, and then at Platteville on Sunday this week.
Platteville will be their last non-conference game, so they're kind of winding down. It's really hard to imagine that we're talking about teams winding down their seasons when it feels like we just started talking about them, but the season goes so fast, and hopefully on Saturday when they go up to St. Ben's, they'll be able to play well. It's a long trip, and we talk about that when we talk about them going to Concordia. So hopefully they'll be able to get off the bus ready to go and play very well against St. Ben's. Be a very good test for them. I think that St. Ben's is a team that they certainly can play with. It'll be interesting to see how they put it all together.
The men are at St. John's, the men's soccer team on Saturday. They'll also play at Platteville on Sunday. Still looking for those goal scorers that have been in short supply lately. Yeah,
they lost their last game to Hamlin 1-0, and we've talked about this. I sound like a broken record, but talking to Coach Dembeck, they're creating scoring opportunities. They're just not finishing. They're playing well defensively. You only give up 1 goal in a game. That's a positive. And when you come out on the short end of a 1-0 game, it's a little frustrating because defensively you're doing everything you need to do. You're holding a team like Hamlin to just 1 goal. You have to hope that your team's going to score at least 1 goal and hopefully more than that. And right now the chances are there. They're just not able to convert. And John Safransky, we talk about him every week, and he had another great game against Hamlin, including stopping a penalty shot. In a 0-0 game, he stops a penalty kick. That keeps them in it, and that gives them hope. And then they make 1 defensive mistake in the late going, and Hamlin converts, and it turns out to be the goal of the game. So it was a tough way for them to lose.
Right. Donnie, in cross country, the cross country teams for St. Mary's last weekend at Eau Claire both come in 24th place, although the flu bug seemed to hit the women's team.
Yeah, I talked to Coach Barrett after the races, and he was very happy with the way the guys ran. Obviously, David Feather knocked off a big chunk of time in his for his best 8K time of the season, and a lot of the other guys really started to step up, and that's what we've talked about for them. As the season really starts to near its end, they need to be picking up those times, and everybody dropped time that scored for St. Mary's, and that was something that Coach Barrett really needed to happen. On the women's side, he had some good times. Rachel Folan ran a great race, as she has all season. But flu bug injuries are really starting to plague the team a little bit. And right now, what Ward wants more than anything is to get his healthy lineup back in place and and hopefully as they get ready for the conference championships, everybody will get healthy and be ready to go.
Yeah. Donnie, just 30 seconds left in this segment. I know as sports information director you're not supposed to have a favorite sport, but I also know that men's hockey is near and dear to your heart. The red-white game was held last weekend, and Paul Dettling's name was mentioned quite a bit during that contest.
Yeah, Paul had a hat trick in that game to lead the white team, 6-1 win for white. And I think talking to Coach Moore afterwards, it's, you know, the big thing about that game is to see how the players react to game situation. It's a game that they treat just like any other game in the season. They've got NCAA officials so that they're experiencing the game being called just like it'll be called next weekend at the MIEC showcase. And so I think that was the important thing, and just to be able to evaluate how these kids can handle a game situation. You've got a lot of veteran players on this year's team, and you got a lot of young guys trying to find spots on the varsity roster. And so a game like that is very important for a lot of different reasons. And I know Coach Moore really didn't care what the score was or who did the scoring, but rather how they played in the game.
So we'll get him on very soon to talk about the upcoming season. Stay tuned here to the Cardinals Nest. Coming up next, we'll talk about some other non-sporting events coming up here on campus.
These days, everyone's talking about saving the environment.
And at HBC, we're doing the little things that you can do that really make a difference.
Like recycling our bottles.
Build a better community. For more tips on having a green lifestyle, visit our website, my.hbci.com/green.
And welcome back to the Cardinals Nest here on HBC. Dean Beckman along with Donny Nadeau, joined now by a couple of the brothers from the Phi Mu Alpha music fraternity on campus. Guys, thanks for joining us. We've got Peter Snell and Phil Thomas.
Thank you.
We welcome them. They're here to talk, Donny, about Blue Angel, which is the musical variety show coming up later in November, early part of November. On the St. Mary's University campus. But first, Peter and Phil, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what your majors are, and how you got started at St. Mary's. And Phil, we'll start with you.
Well, I'm from Hastings, Minnesota, so from about an hour and 10 minutes north of here, not too far. I'm actually a cytogenetic technology major. I'm a biology major, and I'm trying to get into medical school, so that's kind of my plan of attack right now. And that's how I found St. Mary's, is I was looking for some sort of a genetics program, and St. Mary's was one of the only ones I could find, and I came down and toured the campus. I wanted to get a place that was close to home, but far enough away to where I could be gone at college, but still be an hour away so I could drive home pretty easily, and I just loved the campus. I loved the faculty and everyone when I got to meet them all, and kind of how I wound up down here.
All right, terrific. Peter, how about you?
Yeah, and I'm from Lino Lakes, Minnesota. It's about 20 minutes north of the Twin Cities, right by Blaine, if you happen to know where that is. And I'm an elementary education major and theater minor. And I actually found St. Mary's. I was driving down to visit Winona State, and we saw a sign for St. Mary's and decided to drive up, and it really clicked, and it felt like home. So
now tell us how, we know where you're from and how you got to St. Mary's. How did you get initiated with Phi Mu Alpha?
Well, I've been in choir my whole life. I'm a big singer. I love to do choral music. I love doing that. And I got in my freshman year to the chamber singers, which is the smaller, kind of more selective choir. And a lot of the juniors and senior men that were in there were in Phi Mu Alpha. And they were talking to me a lot about a freshman year. But freshman year, you can't begin pledging until your second semester. So freshman year is kind of overwhelming sometimes for college, especially trying to be a biology major and take that on. So first semester of my sophomore year, a lot of people were talking to me. Dr. O'Shea's the director of the choir program, and he's really big in Phi Mu Alpha. And they just talked to me about it. They're like, give it a try, see what it's like. We all love music. And it gave me an opportunity to really get to know a lot of different people from a lot of different backgrounds. And I was like, hey, let's give it a shot. And it's worked out really well.
yeah, there are a lot of theater majors that are involved with Phi Mu Alpha. So being a theater minor, I connected with those guys, and they told me to pledge. And actually, my freshman year, I worked for Chartwell's up in the cafeteria, and there was a guy, Jeremy Johnston, that worked with me, and we talked about it and stuff. And I was really involved with music back at home, but didn't have much time for it, and I thought this was a great way to connect. with people. In that way.
Tell us a little bit about Phi Mu as we start leading into what Blue Angel is all about. But Peter, why don't you just tell us a little bit about what Phi Mu is all about in terms of, we know it's a music fraternity, but obviously there's
Right.
more to it than that.
Yep, it's a men's music fraternity, and the whole idea is to transform musical students into men of high ideals. So we have a set of ideas that we all share, and we have, during our probationary process, our pledging, if you will, we try to introduce those ideals and try to show how what we do through music and just everything that we do in our daily lives, how we reflect those ideals and virtues. So,
Phil, it seems to me that Phi Mu is one of the closest knit groups on campus. There's lots of clubs or organizations, but as a fraternity, you do a lot of things together, put on a lot of activities. Maybe talk a little bit about the closeness of the group.
Yeah, I definitely think, I mean, most of us are all best friends with each other. We all live together, just about all of us. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that we're trying to become men of high ideals and trying to build those types of things. And because we have sort of the probationary period that we do, it creates a lot of those kind of bonds, and we do so much together. As a group, we realize what we do we could never do without the amount of people that we have. There's no way 5 of us could do what we do, so we need to work as a group in order for that to happen. And I think just as a natural part of that, when you spend that much time together with people, you don't have a choice but to like them and everything. And with that, I mean, we're all really great guys, and we want to do good things. We want to be good people. So I think naturally you're going to get that anyway. And one of our biggest things is that we are a fraternity. We're more like family than we are just friends, and I think that's what really separates us from a club fraternity. We always say you won't always love you won't always like your brother, but you'll always love them. So we really look at it as a way as we do anything pretty much for each other, and we're always there for each other whenever we're needed, and that's just kind of where that sense of community really comes from, and we definitely have a very, very close-knit group, for sure.
Now, obviously, one of your big service projects, so to speak, is Blue Angel. Peter, tell us a little bit about Blue Angel and what it's all about.
sure, yeah. Well, that's the first weekend in November, Blue Angel is. And what we do, we have students, they put acts together, and they audition. Auditions are actually this weekend coming up. So they put acts together, and we have a panel of judges who decide which shows get in, and they also decide what the format of the show is going to be, what acts are going to go in what order. And we spend that week just before the show rehearsing those acts. And
yeah, and last year, I know it's grown pretty steadily actually every year, at least since I've been here. I know last year we had, I think, 56 auditions, and we only let about 26 to 28 acts into the show. So it's pretty large group of people that really want to get into this. It gives you a lot of opportunity for a lot of diversity in the shows. And yeah, we just have a rehearsal. We do the first half of the show one night, then the second half, and then one full run, first half Monday, second half Tuesday, one full run through Wednesday, 2 full run throughs Thursday, and then 1 show Friday, 2 shows Saturday. So it's a pretty intense week.
A lot of late
everyone
nights.
gets really stressed. Yeah, a lot of late nights.
Well, I was thinking a pretty intense couple of weeks with all of
Yeah.
the auditions, and with that high number of auditions, it makes for a better show because you can
Yeah.
be very selective as to what you allow in, and it's musical
Right.
variety, correct? So
Yep,
pretty much
absolutely.
any type of genre of music?
Well, and that's what's neat too, is we do we've had guys play buckets like with each other. We've had, the stereotypical acoustic guitar player singing by themselves. We also have heavy metal. We've had
Techno.
rap, techno. We've done literally just about everything. And I think that's what makes the show fun, is that it's not, all acoustic guitars with, people singing or whatever. We try to get a variety. Even if it's not quite as good as far as the overall quality goes, it's nice to get that kind of diversity in there. But I think it's hard for people like Peter, I know. He plays like 4 instruments or something. So, so I know a lot of our guys get pulled from people who can just sing maybe, and they say, hey, I really want to do this song. Could you guys, I need a guitar player and a bass and a drum player, and so they go, and our guys will go and be like, yeah, we'd love to. And I know, like our bass player, Bill Dufford, he took on like 16 acts, I think, last year. and obviously with the bass it's a little easier, but it's just, it's insane the amount of time. I know I'm not as big in instruments, I sing, so, but they commit themselves pretty insanely in those.
Is your fraternity in charge then of setup, takedown, getting sets ready, that type of thing?
Yeah,
You bet.
yeah. So we have guys on like front of house where they run the soundboard and stuff. We have guys on monitor world, so they're checking to make sure that everybody can hear themselves on stage. We have a set crew, and then we have lighting guys. So
The full works, basically. It's definitely a big thing. So,
Yeah.
and then we set up. We always try and get. I think the last couple years we've had our takedown could easily take all night, but we get people come and stay who are part of the show. We get friends that come. We try and get them to come too, and with all of us together, I think last year we did it in 40 minutes. And Dr. Highland was there last year, and he said it was probably the fastest he'd ever seen takedowns. So it's pretty intense. We set up the whole stage, do it all, like everything. So it's
and the performers are students, staff. You get a variety of different people up on stage.
Yeah, we've had it all. And what's so much fun is it's not just us. We're connecting with other people on campus and stuff. When I get to play with others, I mean, that's all what our fraternity is about, is uniting not just our group together through music, but everybody through music.
You know, I think you talked about Dr. Highland a little bit, and last year was his last official Blue Angel. I know that that he wanted to make sure that Phi Mu had a little bit of an appearance in some athletic events, because I know last year and in previous years, Dr. Highland would make sure a group of you would come and sing the national anthem for several events, and I always thought that was really neat, because one, it's always awesome to have a presence singing the anthem, but you guys did it so well, and it was, you know, you had Dr. Highland there right in the middle of them, and it was really a neat thing, and I think it was a neat way for Phi Mu to tie into athletics as well.
Well, yeah, and I think we're always looking for ways to expand into every part of the university that we can, and even into the community. Definitely, we've started several different things to try and do that, and that's, like Peter said, definitely our mission is we want to try and get music anywhere and everywhere we can, and we don't want to seem like we just do Blue Angel every year and like have the oldie moldy all-stars and like that's it. Like we all love music. We all love anything that we can do with music, so we definitely try and get into everything we can, I think.
Yeah, and one great example of us trying to spread it to everyone on campus is we're actually connecting with the international students this year. We're putting a show together with them. Well, they're running the show. It's going to be in January, I believe, or early part of next spring semester. And it's going to be a show that it's all international music, so they're getting acts together for that. So.
Yeah, and it's the first time we've ever done it on campus, and we're kind of centering it all and taking it by the helm and trying to control it all together, so it's going to be pretty awesome.
And we hope that it's going to be a continued tradition.
Are the shows, the Blue Angel shows, are they open to the public? How do you get tickets? Why don't you tell us about that?
Right, well, you can buy tickets just below the Toner Center cafeteria, just down below by the stairs, and that's $6 during lunch.
We've got a couple of email addresses up here on the screen too,
right.
so people could email and maybe get tickets that way as well.
Great.
So.
Yep. And then it's $7 at the door, that same spot, just below the Toner Center cafeteria.
And that's the first weekend of November, correct?
Correct.
Friday night and or Saturday. Friday night and Saturday.
Twice Saturdays.
Yeah. And that's 8 o'clock on November 6th. And November 7th, I believe it's 7 and 10 o'clock.
Yep. Okay. Now, I've always heard, and tell me, you both performed in Blue Angel. The 10 o'clock show gets pretty wild on Saturday night, right?
I think that's the show we probably enjoy the most, is because Saturday during the day tends to be, or not during the day, I guess, the earlier show tends to be the more, if family comes to watch, things like that. So it's a little more low-key, because Saturday night you get a bunch of kind of the rowdy college crew, I think.
right.
And it just becomes
That's
fun.
when Donny shows up.
Yeah, I think I've seen him in the back. But it just becomes a lot more fun because you can really get into it. I know, like, I got to do last year, I got to do Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy, which is just a fun song for everyone. And it was great at 10 o'clock because people were up in front of the stage, they're dancing, like singing along, and it just really creates more of like almost like a concert atmosphere than so much of a sit back and watch a variety show. People really get into it, they really start to like it, they really kind of just get riled up by it and everything. They really get into like the fun, fast-paced songs that everyone loves. And
and we're running out of time for this segment, but I do want to ask Peter one more question. Peter, tell us about the history of Phi Mu and then how that ties into the history of Blue Angel a little bit.
Sure. Well, our chapter started on May 14th, 1956, I believe, with Brother Paul Freschel, and he brought together the men's the Merry Notes, which was a big band group, and then the men's glee club. So, and then years later, Phil, I think you know a little bit more about this. They started Blue Angel. It wasn't actually our group. It was
in 1967.
Yeah.
They actually started in the Institute for Research. Actually ended up starting it by Brother Paul Grass, and it was started by the Student Senate. Actually, originally with the senior president, and actually Joe Piscatello, who's now in the admissions office at St. Mary's, was the junior class president at the time, and then the president of Phi Mu Alpha. And then the next year in '68 is when Phi Mu Alpha took it over and decided that, you know, we'll kind of control this. And it was originally actually styled against the 1930s movie Blue Angel to be like a German cabaret club. So they had it up actually in what I think is the common room right now with a balcony and everything, so it could be more of this cabaret style entertainment. And then after that, it moved to the gym, and then it ended up moving to the cafeteria. And I think we just grew in size, so the common room just wouldn't fit people. And now the cafeteria is pretty nice because we put out pretzels and chips and sell pop and do that for a fundraiser too, and gives us a really big open area to kind of really use the space. So.
All right, well, look forward to this year's show. Good luck with it.
Thank you very much.
All right, Peter Snell, Phil Thomas from Phi Mu Alpha Music Fraternity on campus, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you very much
for having us.
All right, stay tuned. Donnie and I will be right back with more after this.
The weather affects us each day. It determines how we dress, our family plans, even our mood. And while HBC TV 25 can't control the weather, we can provide you the information you need to plan better. We'll bring you the latest weather information featuring state-of-the-art forecast equipment and Doppler radar. Plus, you'll be able to find weather 24/7 on my.hbci.com. HBC TV 25, your news and now weather source.
And we're back to wrap things up here on the Cardinals Nest by talking about some other non-sporting events coming up on the St. Mary's campus. But first, a congratulations going out to Ken McCullough. The Winona Fine Arts Commission announced that Ken McCullough, who works in the Academic Advising Department on campus, will be the new Poet Laureate of Winona. So there will be a reception in Ken's honor, 6:30 p.m. on Tuesday, October 27th at the Minnesota Marine Art Museum, starting at 6:30 p.m. Congratulations to Ken. That's quite an honor for Ken, who works in our Academic Advising Department. Also, always one of the big highlights of the year, elementary and preschool children from the Winona area invited to campus to attend the 10th annual Halloween Fun Night. That'll be from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Monday, October 26th. You can start in the Toner Student Center. There will be people on campus directing you where to park. Make sure your kids are dressed up in their costumes, and they'll go out to the different living facilities on campus, and you can do some trick-or-treating. But I would suggest getting there at 6 rather than 7:30, because Donnie, he raids, he dresses up in his costume and goes out and tries to get all the candy.
I'm actually
first.
in my costume. You like
You're in it right now. And then finally, the Walk of Horror is going to be happening once again. This is put on by the softball team every year. Jen Miller, the head coach for the softball team, really enjoys this. It's a fundraiser for them so that they can do some traveling in the springtime. It's $5 adults, $4 for kids 12 and under, and it takes place in the woods behind St. Mary's. They ratchet up the scares a little bit for the adults, tone it down a little bit for the kids, depending on the age of the group. It really is a good time. Donnie, you and I have both been on that walk, and they do a great job with that, and I know Jen Miller is out promoting that on HBC, and we're talking about it now, but it's such an important fundraiser for the softball
And actually,
team.
it's a lot of fun, not only for the kids and the adults that get to go through it, but also for the softball players. You know, they all get to, you talk about dressing up in costumes, and they get to do all that, and you know, they put in a lot of time and effort leading up to it, and I know that they have a lot of fun as the nights wear on, and hopefully Mother Nature will behave and give them some nice weather.
The dates on that, again, October 23rd through the 24th, and the 29th to the 31st from 7 to 10 p.m. each of those nights. All right, that's going to do it. Thanks for watching the Cardinals Nest right here on HBC 25.